Have you ever noticed that, amidst the chaos, someone unexpected shows up and completely changes the way you see yourself? It wasn't by chance. It wasn't a coincidence. There's an invisible thread that brought this presence to you. This encounter can't be explained with simple logic. It's as if something inside you already knew they would arrive, even before you knew their face, voice, or mannerisms. You feel that there was a quiet waiting, as if your heart had reserved space just for their entrance. God works this way. He places people in our path when we're ready to navigate phases we couldn't handle alone. He doesn't come just as a companion. He comes as a mirror, a living reflection of what you haven't yet recognized in yourself, but which needs to emerge. They may have arrived when you were at your lowest, perhaps when you felt you had no strength left, when everything seemed meaningless. But it's precisely then that God sends someone who doesn't just speak with words but with presence. A presence that supports, embraces, and illuminates parts of your being that had been dimmed. Have you noticed this? How their small gestures can awaken memories, truths, and even hidden pains within you. It's not just a relationship, it's a summons, a spiritual call to see what had been obscured. Many times you thought you needed answers from the outside. But this person was placed beside you not to solve your life, but to provoke something within you. They awaken, they confront, they liberate. And there's one detail that few perceive. God never sends someone by chance. There's always an invisible reason supporting their arrival. It could be to heal old wounds, to teach patience, to test your faith, to reveal a love you didn't know existed within you, or even to break down walls of pride that you built without realizing it. He is like a key that opens internal doors you kept locked. You might even resist, think you don't need it, but gradually that presence begins to unveil secrets of your own soul. There are encounters that stand out for their lightness. There are others that stand out for their pain. But this meeting that God has prepared for you is not about comfort. It's about transformation. It's about seeing what was invisible. It's about realizing that within you there was a vast territory waiting to be discovered. And maybe for a moment you'll ask yourself, why him? Why this way? Why now? The answer isn't found in human logic. The answer lies in God's timing, in the perfect alignment of your pain, your search, and the mission he carries when he crosses paths with you. You need to understand, when God sends someone, he's not thinking about immediate comfort. He thinks about expansion. He thinks about what needs to be awakened in you so you can live the truth you have yet to dare face. This person who entered your life didn't come just to be there. They came to break down your resistance, to show you how much you were still bound to old beliefs, repeated patterns, unhealed pain. And even without realizing it, it was before them that you began to reveal yourself in a way you've never experienced. Notice, it wasn't him who brought the truth. The truth was already within you, but it was his presence that acted as an inevitable mirror, a reflection that effortlessly exposes and uncovers without words. And that's why many times this encounter hurts, because it reveals all those things you tried to hide, even from yourself. Have you ever wondered why you feel so vulnerable around him? It's because your soul recognizes that it cannot hold on to masks. It's because in some way, in his presence, your essence shows itself as it truly is. And that is exactly what God desires. For you to see yourself clearly, to perceive the invisible chains that still bind you. This process is never comfortable, but it is liberating. There are encounters that arrive like healing, gentle, almost imperceptible. But there are encounters that come like storms, and both are divine. The one you are experiencing now has the power to shake your foundations. It's as if everything you believed is no longer enough, and you are compelled to question. Don't just question why it is there. Question what God wants you to see through it. It is not the final answer. It is the instrument. It is the messenger disguised in flesh and human voice. And at the same time it is flawed, imperfect, human. That is part of it. Because the purpose is not to idolize, but to realize that even in imperfections, hidden lessons exist. God sends people not because they are perfect, but because they carry exactly the imperfections necessary to awaken something in you that has been dormant. And it may be hard to admit, this person evokes both your love and your anger. They provoke light and shadow. They are a sign of contradiction, but it is within this contradiction that you grow. It is in this clash of sensations that you are taken to a realm of truth. Have you ever felt that this presence arrived to accelerate your life? As if, all of a sudden, everything gained another speed. It's because the encounter carries a sense of urgency. God's timing is not your timing. When He decides to move something, there is no pause, no waiting. He opens doors and demands crossing. This person is exactly that. A call to cross over, not to stand still, not to repeat old cycles, but to take a step that alone you would not take. And here is the deepest detail. They are not just a person in your life. They are a turning point, a crossroads. After them, nothing will be the same. Even if they do not stay, the mark has already been made. Even if life separates you, the transformation has already been set in motion. This is the mystery that many do not understand. Someone's mission in your life isn't about permanence. It's about impact. There are those who stay for a short time, but create a revolution greater than those who have spent years by your side. Maybe you're still fighting against this. Perhaps you want to hold on, maintain, control. But what comes from God cannot be controlled. It can only be lived, it can only be traversed, because the purpose isn't to hold on, but to transform. And at some point, you'll realize that this person didn't come just to fill a void. They came to reveal that this void could never be filled from the outside. The answer was within you, but you didn't have the courage to face it. God sends people like this because He knows that you would run away from the truth alone. But in the face of this encounter, there is no escaping. It's inevitable. It's perceptible. It's revealing. Have you noticed that since they appeared, you're not the same anymore? Your perception of yourself has changed. Your choices have changed. Even the way you feel has changed. This is the sign. This is the indication that it wasn't by chance, it wasn't coincidence. Many call it destiny, but it's deeper. It's spiritual alignment. You and this person crossed paths because there was a specific lesson to be learned, a lesson that wouldn't come in any other way. Maybe it's about true love. Maybe it's about letting go. Maybe it's about forgiveness. Maybe it's about healing old wounds. But it's always about something essential that touches the depths of your soul. This encounter is not superficial. It's profound. It touches parts of you that you didn't even know existed. And that's why it often frightens you, because you feel you're facing something larger than you can control. Do you feel it? Their presence is not ordinary. It's laden with purpose. And God does not waste purpose, so don't get distracted by just the outer appearance. See the content. Don't get stuck only on what they show on the outside. Listen to what your soul perceives in their presence, because it's in that silence that revelation occurs. Maybe you aren't fully aware yet, but part of you already knows. You already recognize. You've already understood that this meeting was written even before you were born, and it's in that recognition where transformation lies. If you've experienced a meeting like this that changed your life irreversibly, comment, "I needed to hear this today." Have you noticed how everything changes when someone carries a divine mission in your life? It's not just about companionship. It's not just about attention. It's about destiny. That person God placed on your path came with the force of a sign. They didn't come to complete who you are, because that was already within you. They came to activate, to touch dormant regions, to break silent blockages, to remind you that life can no longer be lived superficially. Their presence is a summons. It's as if heaven descended in the form of flesh to say, "Now is the moment. There's no turning back." You can resist, you can even run away, but you can't ignore it. Because when God decides to move your story, He uses people as keys, as arrows, as living instruments of revelation. Many times you ask, why me? Why now? But the right question is, what within me needed this meeting? And if you look with sincerity, you'll realize there were parts of you crying out for transformation. Maybe it was the fear that no longer fit. Maybe it was the pride that imprisoned. Maybe it was the neediness that distorted your view of love. God sends someone just when the cycle needs to be broken, and that person becomes the spark of a revolution that you wouldn't experience alone. It's not about ease, it's about truth. This meeting is not light, it's intense, it's deep, it's transformative. It's as if everything you believed up until now is being put into question, and you know there's no way to come out unscathed after experiencing something like this. He didn't come to be just another memory. He came to be a turning point. After him, there's a before and an after, and this isn't romanticism, it's purpose. Have you noticed how since he arrived, you started questioning things you once accepted without a second thought? That's how God works. He places someone in your life to be a mirror that doesn't let you escape from yourself. And here's a mystery. Often this encounter can bring pain, because pain is a teacher, because only pain can strip away the masks that you would never dare to remove on your own. And in the midst of that pain, you realize how many chains still bound you, how many hidden layers were still there. He didn't come to be easy. He came to be necessary. And it's in that necessity that you realize how much your life is guided by a greater plan. Because even tears have meaning. Even shocks have purpose. Even distances sometimes are part of the divine design. Have you ever wondered why you think about him so much? It's not obsession, it's not coincidence. It's because there's something in his energy that touches parts of you that were hidden. There's something that awakens. There's something that unsettles. There's something that heals. This is the clear sign that his presence is a divine instrument. And the more you try to rationalize it, the more your soul remembers. It's not logic, it's spirituality. Maybe you don't notice right away, but every word he speaks carries seeds. Every silence of his carries messages. Every absence of his carries lessons. And you need to be attentive because God communicates in ways that rational minds don't comprehend. This encounter is a language of the soul, a language that only the heart can translate. And if you stop to observe, you'll notice that he arrived precisely when you needed him the most. Not at the moment you thought you wanted, but at the moment heaven knew it would be impossible to continue without this impact. That's why sometimes time feels strange. You might think, this came too soon, or this came too late. But there is no early or late in God's plans. There is only the perfect timing, and that perfect timing brought him to you. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and understand it was necessary, it was needed, it was inevitable, and perhaps you will find that he wasn't sent to stay forever. But forever isn't God's measure. The impact is. There are people who stay for a lifetime and change nothing, and then there are those who stay briefly but turn your world upside down. And it's that upside down that creates space for the light to enter. Have you noticed that you can't be the same after he showed up? Your mind expands, your faith is tested, your emotions are stirred up. This is the clearest indication. It wasn't chance, it was purpose. And if you look deeply enough, you will feel it wasn't just him who arrived, it was God through him. It was the answer to a prayer you maybe didn't even say out loud, but your heart had already been silently screaming. And here's something many don't understand. He is not the miracle. He is the sign. He is not the arrival. He is the portal. He is not the salvation. He is the instrument that points to salvation. And if you confuse this, you risk idolizing the person and forgetting the purpose. But if you have discernment, you will see beyond the face, beyond the voice, beyond the presence. You will see what God is trying to reveal through him. If you've realized that someone entered your life as the key to an invisible portal, comment, "This speaks to me." And the most surprising thing is that even when there is pain, you feel gratitude, because deep down you understand. Without him, you would continue repeating old paths. Without him, you might never have had the courage to look within. Without him, you wouldn't have seen that God already dwelled in every part of you that seemed empty. He was sent not to complete you, but to show you that you were already whole. And it is in this revelation that true transformation resides. Are you ready to accept this? Are you ready to realize that this meeting is not about him, but about you? Are you ready to see that while you feel like you gained something, the greatest gift was discovering who you have always been? This is the mystery. This is the purpose. Have you noticed that his presence stirs aspects that go beyond the physical? It's not just about words, gestures, or closeness. It's about energy. It's about a silent call that forces you to see yourself stripped bare, without armor, without masks. This person was sent to be both a trigger and a healer. He awakens memories you tried to erase. He activates wounds that were lying dormant. But at the same time, he also shows that within you, there was already strength, there was already faith, there was already love. God sends in this way, through what disturbs, through what comforts, through what you cannot control. Because the purpose is not control, the purpose is expansion. And as painful as it may be, you already know that it's not possible to go back to being the same. He brought truths that cannot be unseen. He planted perceptions that cannot be uprooted. You may even deny it, but your soul has already recognized. This meeting is a portal. It's an arrow, it's a fire that consumes, and the question that remains is, will you have the courage to cross what God has prepared, or will you cling to the fear of losing? If you have ever felt that someone was a portal in your life, write here in the comments, "I know what that is." This was just the first revelation. Click and continue this journey with me.